This picture of my grandfather and I holds me accountable, as well as other pictures I go back and look at of the Ozarks and my grandfather. They help me value hard work. They push me to follow my dreams. And it also reminds me to keep the people who matter the most the closest, like family. That's something that my grandfather always believed. People have many different forms of inspiration, whether it be family, friends, children, teachers, or even kids of their own. Somebody has someone that inspires them. Mine happens to be my grandfather in our lake house. There have been many people who have impacted my life in positive ways, but I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for my grandfather. They say scent holds the strongest memory. There's nothing like this in the Ozarks. This is where my grandfather, my family, and I spent a lot of our time. Growing up, I never knew how much this place would mean to me. The smell of the water, the cabin, and all the food that was prepared enters my mind as I look at this picture. Instantly, all the most fond memories of my life run through my head. I can't help but smile at the image. Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, late 1970s. My grandfather would have been in his early 30s. At the time, this was one of his 2 houses. This was the flashiest thing he had owned. He was humble, hardworking, and enjoyed a good time. My grandfather made it easy for me to choose him as someone to look up to. One thing in particular that I'm reminded of our lake house is how much he enjoyed spending time there with the family. This was his favorite place to be. From fishing, swimming, boating, and socializing, there was never a dull moment at the house. Many family members enjoyed their time at the Ozarks. My dad remembers growing up down there and all the things his dad taught him growing up. When I look back, I think about the sacrifices my grandfather had to make to run his business at just the age of 20. A business that began in 1969 is still operating today in Kansas City. This business is what put my siblings and I through college. This business allowed him to provide for his wife and his 2 grandchildren. The business that at one point in time was the largest paper supplier and office supplier in Kansas City. Most of the original employees are still there, and at some point in my life, all of my family members had worked there and worked for my grandpa. One thing I always remember about my grandpa is even though no matter how successful he became, he never wanted materialistic things that made it look like he had money. He didn't care about having the nicest clothes, the newest car, the biggest house. What he wanted to do was invest his money in things that mattered. He invested his money into this house, into his family, which paid off in the long run more than any clothes or any big house would have. I am fortunate to have someone like my grandfather to look up to, someone to push me and remind me what following your dreams looks like. My grandfather was motivated to give himself and his family a good life. He always said, "Live like no one else now, so later you can live like no one else." Without this lake house, I wonder how close our family would be. Of course, we still had times together, but we spent several weekends down there. At times, we would have about 20 or more people staying at the house. It felt like a big group camp, but with your family. My grandpa was able to provide this space for us that looking back, I will never forget. Now that I'm older and looking back, I appreciate this house so much more. I want to be able to give my family and future children a place like this to appreciate. A place where we can all come together and enjoy being around each other. This lake house reminds me of family, the best times of my life, and to never take life too seriously. As hardworking and dedicated as he was, he also believed in having fun too, and enjoying the little things in life. He appreciated spending time with his family, and teaching us every bit of information that he knew. It didn't matter who you were going to learn something after having a conversation with him. This picture reminds me of the best example of hard work paying off.